Hey everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, The Small Business Growth Formula, How to Create Your One-Page Growth Plan. My name is Riley McLaughlin, and I will be your webinar host for today. And I'm also joined by Katie Odel, who will be presenting today's webinar. But before I pass it off to Katie, we're going to run through some quick housekeeping. All right, so first of all, this presentation does come with a Google Doc, which Katie's going to walk through. So this is the one-page growth plan that accompanies today's presentation. It's not something that you need during the presentation. So this link will be included in the wrap-up email you'll get tomorrow morning. But this is the master file. So what you'll do is you need to create a copy because you can't edit this master copy. So you'll go up to File at the top left, click on Make a Copy, and then you can rename it whatever you'd like to. And then once you click make a copy, then you'll have a version of your own that you can edit. All right, and we are taking questions. So if you have a question at any time, just go ahead and put that in the chat. And just to make sure everyone can see that, and because I'm just curious to know, how many Main Street ROI trainings you've attended and where you're joining us from. So I'm going to check the chat real quick. And yes, we are recording. So what's going to happen is tomorrow morning, you're going to get an email with a link to the recording for this webinar. And you're also going to get the slides and the one-page growth plan in that email. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Katie.
Hello, welcome. So a couple of things that we're going to cover today in this webinar. We're going to go over two key marketing concepts, the marketing investor mindset and the 4 pillars framework that we developed here at Main Street ROI. We're also going to go through and create your marketing vision and set your goals for growth and a marketing budget and kind of how to right size those with one another. We will help lay marketing foundations, conversion, and tracking fundamentals, how and where to invest in traffic, that budget allocation across primary channels to help make sure we're diversifying, how we can help here at Main Street ROI, including a free growth plan strategy session, which is hosted by a member of our team, myself included. So if you want to meet with me one-on-one and talk strategy, please schedule at the end. I would love to chat with you. And then we'll have a live Q&A if you wanted to ask questions and have any longer form discussion while we do that. And while we're on it, please make sure you go in and make a copy of that one-page growth plan. It is so amazing for your company. It will help you set those goals. So who am I and why should you listen to me? My name is Katie. I have been in marketing for the last 15 years. I tripped and fell into this career, and I really haven't done much else other than in the digital landscape of marketing. I've managed accounts that spend anywhere up to $100,000 in monthly ad spend across Google and Meta. I probably would consider myself more of a Meta specialist in the social, doing both paid and organic strategies from diverse B2B and e-commerce clients, anywhere from manufacturing to e-commerce on the jewelry and fashion side to services like dentistry or auto mechanic shops. I've been all over the board on that regard. I'm also a mom. I have a rambunctious little 5-year-old. His name is Nicola, and he is obsessed with all things dinosaur. His favorite book right now, and for the last 3 years since he was about 2, is actually a dinosaur encyclopedia. It has no pictures. He just wants me to read him scientific facts about pachycephalosaurs and bronchiosauruses. It's kept me very up on ancient facts about dinosaurs, which has been a huge joy in my life. So let's launch right in. The marketing investor mindset. This is so key. We have to remember that marketing is an investment, not a cost. Oftentimes people will fall into the trap of thinking that marketing is just a line item on a copy budget somewhere that you think, okay, this is just going to cost me money and I'm getting nothing back. However, it's an investment. You invest that $1 to get $2 back. And if you think of it as a cost, you're likely to underinvest and seek out the cheapest options, similar to picking stocks based on lowest price rather than best return, which, as we all know, is not the best way to build out a portfolio. Again, the marketing investor mindset. Diversify, just like your stock portfolio. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. If you diversify, if you don't diversify, it can be very risky. For example, being overly reliant on Google rankings is similar to only having one stock encompass your entire investment portfolio. I worked for a brand really early in my career that it was kind of the Wild West days of organic social marketing. This would have been maybe 2010. And we saw hyper growth in our first year of business. I think we grew something like 3,000% year one. And it was wild. We were chasing a snowball down a mountain, and we were on cloud nine. We couldn't keep up with the demand. But our primary acquisition channel was social media. And we poured all of our time and all of our effort into social media. Well, Facebook changed its algorithm, and we spent the next 2 seasons trying to adjust strategy. It took us a full year to get back to where we were year one, because we had put all of our eggs in that basket, and through circumstances that were not in our control, we lost a lot of revenue. We lost a lot of time because we had not diversified. So I learned really early in my career just how important this mindset was. Diversify, diversify, diversify. That marketing investor mindset, again, reallocate. So it was time to double down on winners and cut your losses. Reallocating between channels and within channels based on results, which we need data and tracking for, which we'll talk heavily on later. However, if Google ads are performing, but your Facebook ads aren't, shift some of that budget over to Google and reduce your Facebook spend. Understanding how to move that money around in your quote digital marketing portfolio is so important, to be on top of it and keep thinking about your marketing like an investment, to be really on top of where that spend is going and what it's doing for your business. So the 4 pillars framework, this is something that we developed here at Main Street. Our founders and owners, they developed this over years and years of working with clients, and we found that it's really impactful in practice. So that is revenue equals your traffic times conversion times your value. And you need tracking to measure these metrics. That is super important. That's one of the key takeaways of this webinar is tracking is so key and fundamental. Now you'll notice that we use multiplication instead of addition. We'll get into that a little bit as we dive into these 4 pillars, but that multiplication factor is so important. So first, your traffic. You need traffic to generate leads and sales. We all know that. Often it's not the biggest leverage point to drive more sales. If you're just starting out especially, you'll have to lay that foundation by optimizing your site, the conversion rate there, and then setting up, again, there's that keyword tracking, to your conversions. And this is the goal, right? Traffic, it's great to have eyeballs on the site. We love seeing people visit our websites, visit our practices, but if they're not converting, we're not really very happy. So conversion, the real goal is more leads, more sales. Make sure that your website converts. Track that traffic, those eyeballs on your site. We want to make sure that those convert into leads and sales. And you can 2x your sales by doubling your conversion rate without additional traffic investment. We'll talk about that in a moment. And 3, tracking. You can't improve what you can't measure, right? It's like starting a fitness journey. If you don't know where you started, you'll never know how far you've come. Proper tracking shows us what is working and what needs improvement, so you can do that diversification, so you can reallocate budget and make sure that you're maximizing ROI with the investment that you're making into this. This is especially true in advertising. Algorithms need conversion data to understand where to put your money. And then 4, your customer value. Higher customer values means that you can invest more to acquire new customers. Some examples of this are maybe you need to raise your fees by 10%, upsell other products and services, and cross-sell products and services. The business with the highest customer value is going to dominate the market. We know that because it's going to just give you more revenue overall. Do you know how much your typical customer is worth? I want you to think about that for a moment. If you were asked right now to say, okay, what's my average ticket price? When someone walks into my practice or into my business or checks out their cart, how much are they spending on average? So a quick example maybe of some of the ways to do this. I'm going to go with skincare, right? Because I'm a young lady and I'm constantly worried about my skin. Because I live in the Midwest where things are a little bit volatile. We go from heat to cold to heat to cold pretty quickly here. And if you sell skincare, you might see that as an opportunity to upsell me on a product. I might be there for a standard cleanser on your website, but you might offer a cleanser that has additional moisturizer for an extra couple of dollars, showing me that at checkout. And I go, you know what? That is a concern of mine. And then I click in and I upsell to that next level of product. And then I see that there's a moisturizer and a toner that goes along with it. Now you've cross-sold me products that complement my original service or my original product, taking my initial cart charge from maybe $20 to now I'm spending $50 with that upsell and cross-sale of the products. And having your website set up in a way that helps to increase that customer worth is a really smart thing for that business to have done to increase me as a customer, increase my value as a customer. So let's look at this in practice. If you have 100 visits of starting traffic and your initial conversion rate is just 1%, right? And you have a $500 customer value, you're generating $500 in revenue. Now, if we could increase each one of these by only 25%, if we could get 25% more at 125 visits and 1.25 conversion rate, and upsell, cross-sell some products, or raise our fees a little bit, maybe we're underselling ourselves a bit, to a $625 per customer value. That seems pretty approachable, right? A 25% increase. We can do that. We're nearly doubling the output of what that customer or revenue could be. And it's not, that's where that multiplication factor comes in. And we've seen this work time and time again through the development of these 4 pillars. So the 3-step planning process, how do we get there? How do we take that concept and get into it? First, set your vision. Understand and define your growth goal and marketing budget. Really, truly having a realistic understanding of how much you can invest and what you can expect from that investment will help right-size your expectations and make sure that you are investing enough, or if you don't have more to invest, that you understand kind of what growth to expect. Lay the foundation. This is a key takeaway. Set up conversion and tracking before you invest in your traffic. Understand where you're starting. Before you start throwing money into the breeze, understand where you're at. And then once you do understand where you're at, invest in the traffic. Allocate budget across primary channels using that portfolio approach. Don't make the same mistake that company I worked for in the very beginning of my career made, where we invested all of our time and money into one platform and then had to spend 2 full selling seasons making up for it. That really bit us in the butt for years, if I'm honest. So understanding, if we would have laid maybe a better conversion and tracking system to understand that we were just over allocating in one spot, we could have avoided that. That diversification mindset is important. And then step 1, set your marketing vision. What are your growth goals for the next year? Imagine it's December. What growth needs to happen for you to think it was a good year? Are you looking for moderate growth, like a 10 to 20% increase? Are you looking for aggressive growth at 20 to 40, or are you wanting hyper growth at 40% or higher? And does your marketing budget then align with it? Use a percentage of your current revenue. And remember that this is an investment, not a cost, right? It's an investment like your portfolio with the stocks. And then match your growth rate and your expectations with that investment. You want a moderate growth rate? We're looking at about 4% of your revenue overall. If you want aggressive growth, that 20 to 40% growth, we want to see like an 8% investment. And hyper growth is at like a 12% investment or more of your revenue. Now, if you're looking at a hyper growth, you're like, yes, I want to grow 40% or more this year, but you really only have an aggressive growth revenue option or a budget that's in that kind of 4 to 8% range, we might need to right size what our expectations are for year one, or figure out how we can invest a little bit more. So why is it so important to lay that marketing foundation? Again, I'm going to echo the warning from earlier. Do not jump straight into traffic. This is a common mistake. It really is like turning on a faucet blindfolded and holding a bucket full of holes. You'll be throwing money at it thinking, oh, this is going to work. I'm so excited. I'm making the investment. And then you have no way to know if you're going to sow the seeds that you're reaping. Conversion and tracking are your marketing foundation. Conversion tactics will maximize the leads and sales generated from your traffic investment, but tracking will ensure that you're able to measure what's working and what needs to be improved and what needs to be reinvested in, and where you can shift that budget so that you're utilizing it to its strongest potential. Here's a conversion fundamentals checklist and a tracking fundamentals checklist. I would say if you've got the ability to screenshot this screen, grab a screenshot, write this down, this is a key takeaway. And this should be used on every page of your website, on every landing page that you create for your website, for your ads. Anywhere you're driving a customer, I would go through this checklist. This is a key takeaway. This is so important. Use a strong CTA above the fold. And when I say above the fold, I'm referencing old school newspapers, babe, where it's folded and you're seeing just that high level headline and it's the first thing that grabs your attention. You want that to stay above the top of that screen all the time. That's something like a sticky header with your phone number, something that follows you as you scroll, so that when somebody gets to the point on your website where they're maybe reading through your about us and what services you offer and how to find you, and they go, all right, I've heard enough. I want to call them. They don't have to scroll all the way back up. It's just right there following them along. In that same vein, we want to think about what the customer is there for. Using customer-focused copy versus customer-focused copy. Company versus customer-focused copy. What are we solving for the customer? What are they getting out of it? We know how great we are, and we can tout that on our about page all we want. We can talk about all of those things that are us, but what are we doing for them? We always want to have that in the back of our mind. What is the customer here for? What problem are we solving for them? What solution are we giving them? Present unique selling points, right? That unique proposition that makes them choose your practice, your product, versus another one that they could find on Google. What is special about you? And then create pages for each product and service offer. This is really important for SEO. It gives more scrapability on the website, and with the rise of AI optimization, and the more we're leaning into those larger learning models, it's really important to have those product pages built out, those service pages built out. Add a lead magnet. Capture contact information. This could be as simple as like a bucket at the bottom of every screen. Again, I recommend doing this checklist for every website page you have and every landing page you have. Do you capture contact information? You likely get this with us, right? Follow up with the leads that you get from that lead magnet. You could use autoresponders, newsletters, and promos. I'm hoping everybody in attendance gets our newsletters and sees our promos via email. And if you're not subscribed, they're excellent. Riley sends them out, actually, who introduced me to this webinar. And they're excellent. They drive high value and they have great insights. And that's a way for us to continue following up with people who have landed on our website that may be interested in setting up, services with us here at Main Street ROI and seeing how we can help them. And it's not always first touch point on our website that converts them, but having that follow-up and keeping our name in front of people and helping them to understand the expertise that we bring to the table helps us convert potential leads as well. Now, the tracking fundamentals checklist. This is a little bit more technical, but it's very, very important. Setting up Google Analytics 4, or GA4 as we'll call it, and conversion events. Understanding what actions are happening, those conversion events, or the action people are taking on your website. And you can make those custom if you want to know that they clicked the contact button, or they filled out your newsletter, or they filled out, the I want to make an appointment or tell me more. We can look into all of that. You can set up the conversion events on a custom level, but set that up. Set up your Google Analytics 4 and your conversion tracking events. Set up call tracking. Like that's one of the easiest things you can do, is understanding who's calling from your website. You can track that information to know where that call source is coming from. Then set up ad network conversion codes. Google ads, Facebook ads, that little piece of pixel code will help you understand how your marketing dollars are making you money, how that investment you're making is giving you a return. And again, you want to do that on every single page of your website, every single landing page, so you know how people got there and where your money investment is making the most impact. And then you can set up a CRM to track customer value and cost per lead value. So understanding how much that lead cost and how much money it's making you helps you with that equation that we looked at a few slides back. I'm going to give you guys a second to write this down, because really, truly, this is like one of the most important things that you're going to take away from this. And again, you'll get a copy of these slides and a recording at the end of this webinar. Drop a chat for me. If you know off the top of your head, or don't know off the top of your head, just a quick poll. Can you give me a yes, no, if you know what your customer value is and your cost per lead value is just off the top of your head? Is that something that you guys are already aware of? Or is that something we need work on? All right. Now, the next step, now that we've gone through those checklists, now it is time to invest in traffic. So when we here at Main Street ROI, we surveyed our audience. We asked, what is your top question? Like, what do you guys want to know about marketing? By far, the overwhelming number one response was, what's the one best source of website traffic? And like I've said, one best source is not great. Everybody's focused on traffic and seeking that single source, the magic bullet, as it were, of marketing traffic. But remember, that's not the best way to do it. Magic bullet is not great in a marketing standpoint. We need to diversify, and it is so important to diversify. So some of those primary traffic channels that we see: SEO, search engine optimization for organic visibility. That's making sure that the technical bits of your website and the content on your website are being scraped appropriately by those search engines, that they're being seen by Google, that you're showing up when people are looking for you. You want them to find you and they Google this service near me. That is so important, right? So there's a traffic channel. Your ads are also a traffic channel. Search ads on Google, social media ads, those generate immediate traffic, because that's exactly what they're there for. And then there's your organic social media. As an organic social girl, I love this. It builds your community and your engagement, and it really shows who you are as a brand and shows off your authenticity. That is a primary traffic channel. And then your email marketing, newsletters, promos to opted-in subscribers. Again, I talked about that where you probably get our newsletter, and we do our best to provide a ton of value through that newsletter, and it keeps people engaged and coming back and drives traffic back to our website. And then how to allocate your budget. Find your monthly budget in your one-page growth plan. Again, that's making a copy of your super awesome one-page growth plan, which we're going to go through some examples of here in a moment. And finding that and then using the portfolio approach. When you understand what you can invest, break it down on where you should be investing those funds. Our recommendation here at Main Street ROI is a great place to start, would be investing 35% of that budget into SEO, 45% of that budget into your ads. That's again your social and your paid search ads on Google, 10% into your social media, and 10% into your email marketing. And then I can't stress number 3 enough, audit that performance quarterly and adjust your allocations based on ROI. That's the understanding, that's the tracking, that's the knowing where your money is going and how much money it's making, so that marketing never starts to feel like just a cost center. When you have an understanding of what your portfolio is giving back to you, you're more likely to reinvest and reallocate those funds to where you're making the most money. And then it stops feeling like a cost item and truly feeling like an investment that's making an impact. So what does that look like in that aggressive, moderate, and hyper growth revenue expectations that we touched on earlier? I'm going to go with the middle line here, so I won't bore you guys with talking about all 3 of these examples, but let's talk about aggressive growth. You want to see aggressive growth, and we have 8% of our revenue to invest in that. And we're going to go off of the model of $1 million of revenue in a year just to keep the numbers nice and clean. That means your annual budget is $80,000, which breaks down to a monthly budget of about $6,667, right? And if we use our recommended breakdown, that would mean you're spending roughly $2,300 on SEO every month, about $3,000 in ad spend, and that again would be allocated between social and Google or search engine spend, $660-ish on social, and $660-ish on email. And that would give you that ability to experience the aggressive growth model. Now, if you're thinking you really would like to see hyper growth, but your budget falls more in that aggressive growth when you're looking at this, it might be time to just think about that and understand that's okay, but to know kind of where that money investment that you have is going to help you fall in your growth. So here are some case studies. Let's talk about some real world stories. We have a memorial tree supplier. It was a startup, slow test to ramp up, right? They started with a really low budget SEO, and then 6 months later, they added in Google ads. They tested Facebook ads and decided maybe that wasn't great, and we reallocated those funds to Google based on their return on ad spend. Well, it quadrupled their Google ad spend after 3 years based on their return on investment. And we doubled their SEO spend based on the results. Good tracking showed them that the investment was worth it in these areas. And we didn't just dump it all into one. We did do a phased approach here, but it was still diversified and done through testing that the investments were made. Another case study here is a school supply manufacturer we worked with, where they also reinvested in what was working. They started out with a lot of things right at once, right? They started in SEO, Google ads, Bing ads, Facebook ads. After a few years, they realized that Facebook ads were actually running the lead pack, right? They invested more budget. They increased that ad budget by 25%. And within 3 years after that, they tripled their SEO. So we look at and we're constantly tracking where is the best spot to be spending that money. So Google ads and Facebook ads increased then by an additional 25%. So reinvesting in what was working is what helped this manufacturer take flight. And then a fence contractor, again, another client, a local fence company, they removed their dependence on just referrals. How many of you depend maybe a little bit too much on customer referral? We hear that a lot, actually, like, oh, I get most of my business from word of mouth. Excellent. I love word of mouth, but that's not always scalable, right? We tap out on how many neighbors we have eventually. So a local fence company, excellent reputation. They really wanted to scale. We redesigned the website, implemented an SEO tune-up, which is a service that we provide here. It's an excellent service. And a content project to make sure that their content was really what people were looking for and what the AI and SEO search engines were looking for. We launched Google Ads with a test budget. And then after 2 months, that budget doubled based on the success. And they even plan to scale further their SEO and their ads because they're seeing that dependence on referrals wasn't scaling, but now they're seeing the scale that they were desiring. So we're really excited about that. All right. Hearing all of that, and before I open up to some longer form discussion, if we want, how can we help here at Main Street ROI? We can book a free 30-minute growth plan strategy session. That's with a member of our team. I lead a lot of those. So if you ever want to jump in and chat about any vertical of your business and how you can really grow that, let's chat. I would love to talk to you and dig in on these things. We'll create this one-page growth plan together. We'll go through this together and we can look at what your budget is. We'll go through your conversion and tracking checklist and we'll talk about your traffic portfolio. And then we'll get feedback on your growth target and budget allocations. We would be happy to talk with you about your current goals and how they can be adjusted to really help maximize your success. Now, if you're ready to grow, go ahead and chat growth plan. And Riley will grab that information and we'll get you booked for a strategy session, or you can respond to the email that comes through with this webinar tomorrow, or you can reach out to myself. I'm Katie at mainstreetroi.com. Feel free to email me anytime you want to chat about this and we'll get you on the calendar. And you can also find links to strategy sessions on our website and we're very available. So a recap. What's an overview of the planning process? You've got to create your vision. You've got to calculate your monthly marketing budget and then understand those conversion fundamentals, right? What are we tracking for? What matters to us on our website? Then set up those tracking fundamentals, right? So understanding your conversions, setting up your tracking, and then allocating your budget across primary traffic channels. Don't turn on the faucet blind. Don't carry a holy bucket. And then determine the next steps for your traffic after you understand the traffic channel based on a quarterly basis. At least, we could look at this monthly, but at least on a quarterly basis. All right, I will open the floor. We'll wait a few minutes, see if questions are rolling in. I'll let Riley pipe back in because he is moderating my chat. Riley, do we have any questions from the crowd?
Hey, no questions just yet, but we'll leave this open for a little bit. While you were presenting, Katie, I did drop the one-page growth plan link into the chat, so I can see some people in there now.
Excellent. Please make a copy of that.
Yeah, to reiterate what Katie had said, if you type in growth plan in the chat, we'll meet with you. It's a no strings attached meeting to just help you grow your business. I mean, that's what we're here to do. And it's a really great opportunity to get some personalized help that's customized specifically to help you grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, no strings attached. If you don't want to sign up for services, no skin off of my teeth, man, but I would love to chat with you. I get really passionate about this stuff. This has been developed, this kind of methodology by Main Street, and we love to just share it because we know how effective it can be. and I get really passionate. So I would love an opportunity to speak with you guys. And I know any member of our team would be more than excited to do so. And like Riley said, no strings attached. We can just have that one conversation if that's all you're after.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions. And also, if at any time you do have a question after the webinar, you can just reply to that email that gets sent out because, like I had mentioned earlier, the recording, the slides, and the link to the one-page growth plan will be sent to you via email tomorrow morning. And maybe you don't have a question right now, but if you do think of one later, just reply to that email, and we'll get those questions answered and set up a growth plan call if that sounds interesting to you.
All
Well,
right.
sorry, go on, Katie.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you guys for joining today. It was really awesome to get to put this together and to go through this with you. I hope you guys found value in it. And again, if you want to have a conversation, please do reach out.
Yes, sounds good. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks, Katie, for this awesome presentation. And we hope to see you all in the next webinar.
See you next time, guys.